Over the last 18 months, the number one factor affecting how people feel is well-being. That probably comes as no surprise to you, as you've been living through these last 18 months too, and we've all been affected in some way or other in our well-being. The point I'd like you to be thinking about and talking to your teams about and thinking about as an organization is actually it's the factors of well-being that are critical. It's easy to lump it as one big factor, but actually at Impulse we're able to get under the surface and really get the insight into what are the key factors within well-being. And there are three I want to talk with you about today. The first is financial well-being. There is no doubt that from all the surveys we're doing with millions and millions of points of data, that people's financial well-being is really impacting how they're feeling and therefore their performance at work. And particularly it comes down to things like their financial future, their concerns about whether or not they will still have a job, about whether they can pay for that holiday, about whether they can keep up the mortgage payments. There's no doubt we're seeing some of that, whether they'll get pay rises. And so all of that is mixing in to worry them and concern them when it comes to their financial well-being. So we're really encouraging employers to think about what they can do to help that, from the courses they can run to the messages they can share, whether that be about there are no job redundancies over the next year, or whether that's about helping and supporting them, as I say, with the courses that you can put on as an organization. The second is people's health and physical well-being. Everybody started the pandemic, or a lot of people we saw through the surveys, really working actually on their physical well-being. And they took up running, they watched Joe Wicks, they started doing yoga online, whatever it might have been. But actually that fell away pretty rapidly. And people are concerned that they have ignored their health when it comes to which has affected their well-being, because they've been so focused on work, because actually they've ended up doing more work and less time has been spent on their health. And so again, we're encouraging employers to think about what can they do? Can they run some kind of program focusing again on people's health? And be really clear here, this is not about putting on lots of activities, because actually we saw through the surveys that people were overwhelmed by the amount of activity that employers put on for them. It's actually about being a bit more laser-like, a little bit more personalized, about talking about it, about giving people the time and the space to do it. Almost giving them permission again to say, hey, turn off that laptop at 5. I won't send any emails after 5, so that you can get on and do some of that physical activity that's really, really important. So again, we'd encourage you to think about that. And finally, when it comes to well-being, the final factor is very much about people's mindset. In particular, the issue is that we're seeing about 40% of people are listening to messages, they're listening to what the executive is saying, and their mindset is quite negative. So it's going through that filter, and what they're hearing is worry, is fear, is doubt, and it's creating cynicism. And that's because they've got a mindset of worry, they've got a mindset of fear. And about 60% of people actually are hearing the messages from the exec and what's being communicated, and they're hopeful and they're curious. So it's really, really vital that you work with your employees on mindset and talk very openly about it. What do I mean work on it? I mean, go and talk with them about it. Go and share and explain. Some people, when they're hearing messages, it's causing them to worry. And when other people are hearing it, it's causing them to get excited. So what can we do about that? How can we look at it? How can we get a different perspective? And I know this sounds cliched, right? But I really believe that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And that's a really good place to start with those employees who their mindset has become quite fearful because of everything that's gone on over the last 18 months. So their health, their finances, and when it comes to their mindset. These are the things within well-being that you need to be looked at, be focusing on, thinking about how you can help your employees.